or someone would ask me the other day, she's like, what are you going to do when you actually find someone really similar to you? Would you get along? I was like, gosh, no, no way.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. So today I got a nice question for you, Sam. When do you not need to say sorry?
Sorry, I feel like I say sorry too often
Mm,
at the moment. I'm getting better at not saying sorry for things that I'm not sorry for.
yeah,
But I think sorry gets thrown around far too often
yeah,
for things that we're not sorry for, just to try and accommodate other people and make them feel a little bit better.
yeah. It's almost like the
But
word doesn't have much value anymore.
I agree. It just gets thrown around in everyday little things like, oh, I'm sorry that you felt that way, or I'm sorry that that this is something that I believe in. Like like what are you trying to do? Trying to undermine yourself and say that what you think and believe isn't justified or has value.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's too easy to say sorry.
Too easy.
And
It's too easy, and then by people thinking saying, "Oh, I said sorry. That's all right." Like the harm that I did or whatever I did, it's all forgotten about just because I said sorry. But that's not the case.
exactly. And so I think this is a really good question. So just to clarify, it was, when do you not need to say sorry?
Yeah,
I feel like we could do a whole different one on when you do need to say sorry too.
yeah.
Watch this space.
Back to back.
Um, look, I think there's quite a few, I guess, examples that sticks out in my mind when you don't need to say sorry. And I think, for one, feeling your emotions is one where you don't need to say sorry.
Mm-hmm.
If something pisses you off, don't be sorry about it. Embrace the anger. It's just, it's something, it's just your body trying to tell you a message that's important to you. So be like, oh, sorry, this pisses me off. Just be like, this pisses me off. Like,
Mm.
why do you need to try and ease that into somebody? If someone's doing something that annoys you, be brave enough in your communication not to try and, soften the blow. They'll be able to take it. You don't need to take a back foot and give them a little window in terms of, oh, he might say something mean here.
Mm.
Like, if you live in that fear of someone saying, oh man, he's gearing up to crush me here. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just not a very good way to live.
Yeah, I totally agree there. And I've even noticed myself saying that in my, like, especially this year, just saying sorry for all these little random things that I'm feeling. But when I step back, it's just not normal to be like, oh, sorry, I'm so upset right now. I can't really do this. Or like, what is that? What am I actually saying there? Like,
Yeah, like it's just throwing a few extra words in to try and add some more emotional value to something, but
yeah.
it doesn't need it. And I guess another pretty good example here with this one too is saying that you don't want to do something.
Mm,
Like, I think the word sorry gets thrown in there so easily, but you're not sorry for it. If
no.
you were sorry, you'd be there, you'd be doing it. You'd be making plans to do it the next time. Like, it doesn't hurt to throw it in there. I guess we're being quite critical now and really picking out like little specific sentences, but just the fact of just saying that you don't want to do something, like you're saying sorry to try and cover up hurting their feelings just because you're speaking your mind.
Mm,
Like, say for example, I'm like, oh no, I don't really feel like going on that walk today. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't really want to go on that walk today. I'm so sorry. Like,
yeah.
what are you bringing yourself down a peg for? What do you have to be sorry for? You're just not doing something that you don't want to do. You're letting your directing mind do what it wants to do instead of being, chopped and changed by somebody else. So I
Mm.
guess that would be another little example for me. It's like, when you don't want to do something, why be sorry for it?
Yeah, what if you like, I guess you did mention it. What if you had arranged this a while ago and then you suddenly couldn't do it? Then maybe saying sorry then is all right.
Yeah, I get the feeling at that point you've let someone down. Like, you've kind of
Yeah,
you've gone back on something that you said you would do. So I think that would,
that's
like, because the word sorry for me, this is what my mum always used to tell me, was saying sorry means that it's something that you're never going to do again. And, like, for
that's a,
example,
I
I'd say
really
sorry.
like that. Say that again.
Yeah. So what she would always say was that like, let's say, for example, I was being mean to my sister,
Yeah.
and I would say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Isabel." She would always say, don't ever say sorry unless you're never going to do it again. Like, that's what sorry needs to mean.
Yeah.
Is that you actually are acknowledging that you've done something wrong, and that you're going to take actions to not do it again. So the fact that, I think that makes it fit in quite well with that scenario, in terms of, just having plans and then having to cancel plans for whatever reason. That warrants a sorry, because I would say, like, I really hope to not do that again. Like, if I'm going to commit to something and I can't do it, I won't commit to it next time. Or,
Mm.
I would genuinely feel bad because I feel like they had organized their day around me or something like that.
Yeah, that's good. That is some mother's wisdom right there. And I
Mm,
think that is exactly how we should view sorry. You shouldn't view it as just this filler word you just chuck in there when you kind of
yeah.
I don't know, I'm a bit hungover. I can't really be bothered. So you're like, oh, sorry, I can't do this. It's like, all right. Yeah.
Like, someone adding a sorry into that sentence for me just makes them feel like they're trying to pity me.
Mm.
It's almost like, oh, like, like, oh, thank you. Like, that one word remedied all my troubles in the world. Thank you. Problem
Yeah.
solved.
I got another one. Um, Not knowing the answer. I feel like a lot of people say sorry in this situation when you get asked a question and you're like, oh, sorry, sorry. Oh, no, I don't really know. Sorry, sorry. And you almost feel, well, for me anyway, when I don't know the answer, I almost feel like a bit agitated. I'm like, oh shit, I don't know the answer. Like, I've let this person down. I need to go and find the
Mm.
answer. And it's like, what? What am I
Yeah. What do
doing?
we? Yeah. How can someone expect someone to be good at something that they don't know?
Yeah.
Like, how can you? Yeah. And then the fact to try and bring yourself down a little peg, say, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, you let someone down just because you didn't know something, or that you weren't able to do as good of a job as something that you didn't really know in the first place.
Mm.
Like, there's a gap in communication there, in terms of who should be the one that's sorry.
Yeah.
The person springing a question on them that they might not have any answer to, putting them on the spot, making them feel, like, anxious, like, oh, I can't, sitting there like, oh, what's going to go on? I think it should be the other way around. Like, oh, sorry, I asked you such a
Such a shit
confusing,
question.
intimidating question.
Yeah. It's I think like when we were just saying that, I was trying to understand the word sorry and how when I hear it, it makes me feel. And it's got sorry actually has all these different connotations behind it, which gives it a bit of weird power in terms of changing your feeling. And that's essentially why I don't think we need to say sorry too much, because when you're saying sorry all the time, especially for those sort of things, you like each time you just make yourself feel a bit shit and not knowing the answer. You're like, oh, I'm inadequate at this role. I don't really know what
Mm,
I'm doing. Like, oh, sorry. Like, it's a weird word, but it's
it
like,
is, and I feel like the more you start to use it, the less you actually start using it properly.
mm,
It's like the less you actually start saying sorry and then actually actioning something to make sure that thing doesn't happen again. And I think every human's a sucker for it. I
yeah,
think it's just become such normal conversation that if someone doesn't say sorry for doing something that they're not sorry for, you're almost like, well, you almost feel a little bit like, oh, you should have said sorry. You're
yeah.
like,
Like, where's my
well,
sorry? Give it
where's
here.
my story? Like, it's almost like you start to expect a little bit of, oh, I stuffed something up there. When really they might not have stuffed anything up at all. They might not have owed you anything.
Mm,
Yeah, I think this is a tricky question, because it's something that I know that we both say quite a bit.
yeah,
It's something that we actively try and reduce out a little bit. But I'll probably go out today and say sorry 1,000 times for things I'm not sorry for. And I guess it's just each of those little things along the way. If you can try and reduce them, little
juice
bit by
them.
little bit by little bit, eventually you might get there. But
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see what your life would be like if you totally took out the word sorry.
and just use it at the right moment.
Yeah. So you can only use them when you actually, uh, when you feel like you've taken assault on someone's feelings,
Yeah,
or you've brought them down a little bit, and you actually want to change it so you don't do it again. I think that's when, if you could justify every single sorry with that, I think the world may be a better place. But
mm.
I guess,
Well,
look,
mate.
there's one more,
Yeah,
I guess, that I can think of too. I guess this could probably be a little bit more of a controversial one, but it's things that you've done in the past.
Hands down.
And I think there's two ways to split this one up. Things that you've done in the past that you consciously had no thought processing over. Like, say for example, you just believed something because that's just what you believed. You know, you hadn't taken an action to try and, you know, make this decision that was going to impact somebody else. Like, you know, I know that my views on so many things have changed over the years. But then for me to then go and say to someone, oh, I'm so sorry, I used to think this. Like, I don't think that's something to be sorry for. That's something that you genuinely believe for a long, long time, and you had no other reason to think otherwise. So why would you go back and doubt yourself from, you know, years ago with years less experience and say, oh, that Sam was an idiot. Like, you believed it for a reason. Like, I don't think there's too much of a warranted sorry in there for something that you stood for in a totally different, you know, circumstance
Yeah.
with maybe less information, and trying to apply that to a current situation. I think that's just backpedaling and trying to dig yourself out of a little maybe uncomfortable hole.
That's a really interesting one because, like, when you were saying that, I was thinking to a lot of situations where people are sort of having to say sorry for things they did in the past now. And it's like, yeah, when do you actually need to say sorry? Because it's not you in this present moment, but it is your past. I think in those sort of situations is, yeah, maybe you don't need to say sorry, but it's okay to acknowledge that maybe your views then or whatever you did wasn't the best aligned in terms of, I don't even know what in terms of, but just in terms of
Yeah,
society now.
it's tricky. And then there's the other side of it too, which is, you know, so I guess that option was like your directing mind had no idea of what it was doing.
Yeah.
Then there's, I guess, the other option, which is it did know what it was doing. It knew it was making the wrong decision. And then that, you know, it's kind of progressed that, like, you knew you were doing something that probably wasn't for the benefit of the whole. And then I think that is when it would be a bit different. Like, you know, when, yeah, like
Okay.
it's a tricky one. It's so hard to apply to any particular situations because, I mean, like, you've got so many things going on in the world where sorries are warranted. But the thing is, if we use our argument of, you know, having to apply a sorry to your particular self with a particular set of experiences in a different time zone, like in a different, like, little context, like that could be totally different things. And, like, yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one. I feel like I'm backtracking now because I'm realizing now, like, having the view of sticking with your views from the past, even though they may have changed, and not feeling like relenting for them, that could cause you troubles in the now, not just in the past too.
Mm.
Because essentially, by not saying sorry for them, essentially, like, you're saying, oh, well, they were real, you know, like, I don't resent having those feelings at all. When I think sometimes I would resent having, you know, past opinions and past, you know, principles that I kind of stood by.
Well, it goes on to what you said your mum said, like, say sorry if you're never going to do it again. Like, so potentially in that situation, you could say, sorry, I'm not going to, I'm not going to act in this way. I'm not going to compromise myself like this, or I'm not going to, whatever you're saying sorry for. If you definitely know it's wrong at that stage now, you can say sorry. And obviously it's not forgotten, but it's in the right direction of healing and retribution.
Yeah, it's a step. It's a step towards acknowledging that maybe things you've done in the past weren't right. You know, but as humans, we can be wrong more often than we're right.
Yeah.
So I guess it's that first little step towards that little healing process, which I guess is, you know, it's recognition, it's being aware, and then genuinely believing it and taking action to make up for the wrongdoings you might have done in the past.
Oh, mate, that is a tough question. And I think you answered it very well. We got a pretty firm idea of when it is really not okay to say sorry. So, like, your emotions, when you don't want to do something, and the other stuff you said. And then yeah, that past bit is a bit it's a bit I guess it's touchy, but
Yeah, it's very touchy.
but it
I could piss some people off by saying I'm not sorry for things I've done in the past, which I
and
guess would
you
be,
generally could not be.
yeah.
Like,
Some things, oh, I am. Some things I'm not, and it's, and the things that I'm not going to say sorry to make someone feel better about themselves because that would just be going against what I firmly believe in.
mm, nah, that's good.
Mm.
That's good. We'll have to do the flip side episode of
Yeah,
when it's okay to say sorry or when you should say sorry.
yeah, I like it. I feel like we summarized those points in this one too. That would probably be quite an easy one. It'd be
Yeah.
interesting listening though. Watch me backpedal.
You should say sorry when you bump into someone in the shops. You should say sorry when you don't open the door quick enough.
Depends on the person, man. Are you missing someone?
You know what I'm not sorry for? I'm not sorry for slaying Goon back in the day.
Yeah, no, man, I'm not. I'm not sorry for the multiple bad decisions I had that were fun.
All right, dude. I'll
All
catch you
right.
later.